Oya Dimelo Cinema Club. I am your host, Michaela, and with me today I have JP, Steve Dez, Jason Eccles, and for the first time making her Cinema Club debut, we've got Mel. Woo! All right, well, this week, we're still doing our movie Inception thing. So, last week we watched Bad Time at Casino Royale, and so this week we had to watch The Last Unicorn. Jeff Bridges was in both of them. Jeff Bridges plays Prince Lear in this one, and he plays the
Jeff Bridges-like character in the last one.
Yes. So I guess we should just start with initial thoughts.
That's actually funny. He actually doesn't have a name in the movie.
Not official. Yes, no. He does. He does have a credited name.
Yeah, but that's not his real name, though, is it?
Anyways, initial thoughts. Initial thoughts. Stand on topic. Anybody?
Well, I'll jump right into it then and tell you what my initial thoughts were on the movie The Last Unicorn. Michaela, I got to thank you for bringing this one to my attention because I feel like I've seen the video box maybe once or twice, or maybe it was on some list. I would have never sat down and watched this otherwise. So one of the reasons that I am grateful for Cinema Club, and one of the reasons I am grateful for you. I thought this movie was pretty cool, man. Pretty cool animated movie from like 1982. I thought the animation was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good for that time and like relevant to that time, really, the 2D animation style. The voice acting was cool because even in their younger selves, you can hear all the actors in it. Alan Arkin and Mia Farrow and Jeff Bridges, like you said, Christopher Lee. Like, this thing's littered with all types of famous voices. And the story is pretty cool, pretty whimsy. I got a lot of questions because a lot of it didn't like make complete sense to me. I mean, story-wise, I wasn't like lost or anything, but like some of the things I was a little unsure of, like the magical whimsy nature of it. Those are my first impressions of the film.
Fabulous. Steve or JP?
Well, you said Steve first, so I'll go ahead and skip JP because it seems like he's on a marketing campaign of his own kind. So, initial thoughts about The Last Unicorn. First time watching it, first time hearing it, and surprised that I'm like, wow, there's animated movies not necessarily made by Disney and stuff that are old. So that was cool. The story, I concur with Jason, had me lost in many times. Sometimes it got me, sometimes it let me go. And I was just like, what is happening? Like, what is this supposed to be about? But yeah, trippy movie, fever dream type of movie. If you do shrooms, I don't condone it necessarily, but if you do it, great movie to watch it with. Yeah, initial thoughts.
No. Let's not go to me. I say go to Mel because if you guys talk to me, things might get ugly. She took my drink.
What were your initial thoughts of the film?
My initial thoughts. That's echoing. My initial thoughts of the film were like, this movie is like really magical. I like dark kind of. It gave me dark Looney Tunes vibes. I don't know if it also gave like fever dream vibes to me. I liked it a lot. I mean, also it's based on a novel, which made me look into the author. And I found out that the author wrote also another book that my English teacher was very fond of. I think it was A Dance for Emilia. And it's like about like two best friends. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just giving me a throwback to that was really nice. I liked it. It was very healing to my inner child because, it gives me those little childhood vibes. So yeah, those were my initial thoughts.
Definitely. Do you think?
Okay, so my initial thoughts. Not the first time that I saw it. This is the second time. Or maybe the third? Was it maybe the third? I've seen this multiple times because of you, because it is one of your favorite films.
It is.
But like for me, like first time watching it, like I remember so distinctly, like I was surprised that this was a Rankin Bass film because growing up, I love the holiday specials that Rankin Bass used to make, from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, The Last Drummer Boy, basically all those little quirky stop motion Christmas specials. And like they did 2D stuff, and when you watch the 2D stuff that they also did the Hobbit trilogy, the animated Hobbit trilogy, and the style is there. You could see it in their face, especially the mouth is a big giveaway where they like to have it very stilted and like it's very anime. And half of the people who animated this ended up doing are animators. Mm-hmm. So, but I just thought, I already like the style because it's I'm familiar with it. It's very nostalgic to me, the style. But holy shit. The story went in like, because this movie is deceiving. The first scene and whatnot, you think you're in for like a kind of kiddie trip, but then literally with a sudden switch of a few lines, it's a different story. And we'll talk about it. We'll for sure talk about it. But oh my God. And to think that the animators credited a whole country to the soundtrack. I'm just fucking. The rock band America did the music for this movie, and like, fucking hell, the music bops. Like, the music's pretty spot on. It's fucking great. But oh my God, it's weird because this is not an '80s movie, but it is. It's all over the place, but for some reason, it's its own thing, and it's great. And like for me, the animation was. I like animation. So I felt right at home, even though the story, again, this roller coaster of a story, threw me off several times. And there's some funny ass lines in this goddamn picture.
All right. So this is one of my childhood favorite movies. Like it used to be one of those things where like they had it at my public library. And every time I had an opportunity to check it out, I would. It got to the point where like the librarian had to like make a deal with like 8-year-old Michaela to make sure that other kids could watch it. It's true. I think that's what I really liked about this was like it was actually a dark fairy tale. Like I feel like that's why I liked it as a kid, was because like it felt like they were telling me a story without like kidding it up per se. Like yes, you're right, the plot is definitely not the tightest. But I think it has its very own charm, and it's a really like nice dark fairy tale. So yeah. So initial thoughts being said, I guess we should just address the plot since everyone kind of brought it up in their own way. How it really kind of twists and turns very suddenly, and it's sometimes very hard to comprehend. I guess we could start with like things that we really liked and things that we didn't really get.
Yeah. If I may leave this part of the discussion off just a bit. Something that I didn't get, there's a few things, but I'll bring up, I think the first is when I don't really know what's seen and what's not seen and whose perspective this thing is like truly through. And I know like the movie kind of plays with that type of like continuity throughout, where when she's like captured by the witch early on in the film, we see like that the other animals in the cages are sometimes like, they're like the ferocious beasts that they're made out to be, but then like the unicorn can see through them and they're just like all these wounded animals. And I'm thinking, which one are they? Or is it the witch has an illusion on the animals to make people see something different? Like what is actually happening there? Are they little animals at all? Or is that just the way the unicorn sees them? That was pretty confusing.
That's actually the witch's spell. Like that's her kind of magic that she specializes in, is illusions.
Yeah.
So like the unicorn can see through the magic, whereas like if someone who doesn't necessarily believe in magic, they see what they want to see.
Yeah, and I was about to say, I think that's what they said. Is like the people are entranced because like you're told that the people are told like this is this, and so like, oh, I want to believe that this is this, which is why we see the fucking Blessed Mary like so enthralled with the unicorns.
Even though it's the fake horn that she's
Yeah, that she's seeing. I thought, was that just me? She looked like fucking White Mary. I don't know.
Did she implant that horn on her head?
She did.
Yeah.
So that
how did she get it out?
Well, like the unicorn itself, like once it got free, it could use its magic.
Yeah.
But in the cage, it couldn't.
Plus,
okay, and after she gave her the glow-in-the-dark unicorn, the fake, implant horn, after she got rid of it, all of a sudden her horn started glowing. It didn't glow before that, did it?
Well, she didn't really have to use magic before that.
Yeah.
Like before that, she was kind of keeping a low profile because like that's a big part of the plot is that normal humans can't see the unicorn for what the unicorn is. Like they only see a white horse.
That white horse had privileges beforehand, so it didn't have to use its magic, to fend off some witches.
Right.
Okay. That actually makes a little bit more sense out of the plot to me.
Yeah, no, that like you really have to listen to the exposition of this film to like get the rules of this world, which kind of like makes the beginning really repetitious, and I'll admit that. Like, but once you've watched it like twice,
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
But,
Anybody else?
Yeah. Anything else anyone wanted to talk about the plot specifically? Like talking about it now, like it kind of really brings up like that whole theme of this whole movie. Like now that you say that, like I do notice how like they really do want to keep you like, are we seeing the magic? Are we seeing not? Because like that's such an important theme throughout the entire film is like how like is the fact that we can't see the magic there, is it the death of magic, or is it there all along and we're just too ignorant to see it? Anyways.
I don't know. I mean, and certain people can see certain things. Like the prince thought he was dreaming because he would see the unicorns being drowned. Also, were those unicorns being drowned? Or were they like...
I don't know, unicorn magic. Like, it's such a wonderful plot.
I was expecting a lot of unicorns to come out at the end, and when they didn't, I'm like, oh, those unicorns got drowned by that bull.
That's what I was thinking too when I first, because you have fucking Christopher Lee like this guy's like they keep poking in the surface of the water, and it's like, motherfucker, those are just splashes. You're fucking crazy. He's mad.
So were there unicorns down there when he said he could see the unicorns splashing around in the water, or were those unicorns just long gone?
No, they came out and they fucking coppled that fucking castle to smithereens, dude.
Oh, that's right. They did. No, you're right.
Man, those unicorns were real.
Okay. You're right. There was a bunch of unicorns at a time. I forgot about them.
But but how they managed to manifest back into form after the fucking Red Bull was like, man, fuck this gig, I'm out.
Unicorn magic.
It's like, hell, we're not liquid no more, we're solid.
Unicorn magic. But Mel, what are your thoughts?
Characters. I think the grandma tree and the butterfly carried. I really like how the grandma tree was portrayed. It reminded me of an auntie that I had.
Oh
yeah, and I also like the witch, how she just looked really ugly, and they put so much detail into her face and how she looked and how she acted and everything. I really liked it because you kind of do need a little bit of ugly to add to the spice or whatnot.
Oh, definitely.
So, yeah.
That's another thing about the story where like I said, the first scene tricks you because it's the unicorn like having its fucking day out in paradise. It's like, oh, I'm so lonely. There's no friends. Oh, there's a butterfly. This butterfly's crazy, and the butterfly is doing its best Robin Williams impersonation of a butterfly, and whatever, like having references that make no sense in the world except to us. You know, he's all fucking having a grand old time, and then as soon as the unicorn's like, "Are there any others like me?" The rest of like, "Yo, they were taken. It was the middle of the night. They were screaming." And it's like, what the fuck? And up and like right after that, the movie became something else because it was supposed to be this kiddish, nice fairy tale. Then all of a sudden, you got ugly ass witches, a possible genocide of a mythical creature. You know, kidnapping, and then oh
What
god,
about the harpy?
no.
So that scene was one of the first scenes that took me off the movie a little bit. Because I'm like, oh, look at this butterfly singing and stuff, and I'm like, wait. This butterfly's getting too close to the horn. Like, is this butterfly molesting the unicorn right now? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, he was stripping on that horn for a minute.
Oh my!
He was sliding up and down that horn. I was like, wait a minute, butterfly, this is too much, baby.
Hey, she even herself told the butterfly not to forget himself.
Yeah, she did say that.
She did.
Very
Pertinent.
very ahead of its time. But oh my god, like everything after that, like, can we? I was waiting for one of you guys to bring it up because I did not want to be the one to bring it up, but like, I don't know how to say it being polite, but that ugly 3-titted bird,
The harpy?
the harpy, like wow, that was nice. And then and also the very voluptuous tree. I'm not gonna lie, after those two scenes, I expected more and I was afraid there was gonna be more. I thought the king that they were looking for was gonna be this big butt slut, like who was just, I don't know, doing wrong to those unicorns. But no, it was just some greedy old bastard who took pleasure in drowning them.
Yeah, no, like I think that's something like I was saying earlier that I really liked about the movie was like they really make the scary creatures like scary and ugly and unpleasant to be around.
Like this was
they have presence.
There wasn't some mustache twirling or like well kind of but with like extra sag.
Well, yeah, well with Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, with Mrs. Potts.
Yeah, those characters were each they were all very distinct, and they all kind of like had their own sort of. They almost all felt like they could have been from a different world or a different movie. And I guess that's what adds to some of the whimsiness of it. I got to tell you something though. I didn't really love the music in this thing. I thought the lyrics were pretty literal and pretty bad.
You know it's on the nose when they say the last unicorn, the title pops up.
But you have to admit that like the melodramaticness of that song just hits.
Yeah, no, I think for me, like other than the unicorn and Jeff Bridges, even though it's not Jeff Bridges singing, their fucking weird power ballad. For me, I thought it was very like okay, because you know it's this girl unicorn out to face the world, and it's man's road.
Was that not Jeff Bridges singing?
Oh, that most likely was not. That was probably one of the bandmates from America.
I mean, I don't know. I thought it was because it kind of sounded like him a little bit, but it was so bad. I was like, man, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Like, they have come a long way.
Absolutely fair.
Like, I mean, I just feel like the music in animated movies has come a long way since this, because I I felt like they could have got somebody else to just sing the song, just an actual guy who sings music. And I was like, would I have hated that too much if I would have known it wasn't the actor doing it? Because I really do feel like it was Jeff Bridges not singing well in this thing. It was just, it was bad.
It really was. Not the high point of this film. What did you think of the movie, Steve? The music.
The music. It was decent. I mean, the moment it came out, I'm like, yeah, Michaela picked this movie. So,
Oh my god.
There's a musical around, you know, the corner. Now I'm more like I'm expecting it, you know. So, yeah, those are my thoughts about the music.
What other thing have I suggested that was a musical?
I mean, a lot like there's music stuff that you picked.
I guess.
I just thought it was weird that it was the band America, which was it's three dudes that met while they were in the military. They made a band, and it's like they were the ones they approached. Like, really? Like, for me, it seems so fucking weird. Like these, like like fucking straight up men of war and whatnot. And they sang a song about a unicorn. And they committed to that.
They did. What did you think, Mel?
For a second, when I saw like the unicorn transform into a girl, it gave me Naruto sexy jutsu vibes for like a second. And that's what most stuck out to me after when she turned into a unicorn. Yeah, just the characters, how they developed, this would really had me into it because I don't know, when I was a kid and I used to watch the shows, I don't know if you guys ever used to do that, but I always been after with my friends would be like, I'm this character, because each and every one of us could relate to a certain character. So
right.
Oh my god. Well, thank goodness that it was the sexy jutsu for the transformation and not whatever they did with the tree.
No, that was the sexy jutsu.
That was the oh man. See, now I want to see like what would I like that. Who do you relate as the character?
Well, then let's do it. Who was your favorite character and why? And we'll start with you since you want to.
Oh, I guess the cat. The cat was a surprise. I made a joke about like they have a fucking pirate cat, and it starts talking like, I'm a pirate cat." Also, as much as I love that little surprise, underutilized. Like, what happened to that cat? Like, it shows up and it's gone. At least with the other characters that are introduced in this film, their disappearance is at least explained, or at least it makes sense. Like, oh, the witch and her fucking limp ass son, they were both murked by the harpy. Harpy also just went away. We don't give a shit about the harpy. And the skeleton bone, the wino one, is like after saying unicorn, like his story is served. What happened to the cat? You introduced such a cool character, and then he's gone.
I'm telling you, the characters in this movie had their own movie to get back to. Everybody was doing something different.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine watching Poots and Boots, and then you see the pirate cat in the background, like, there the fuck he is!
You're right. Just passing through movies. Like I want to know the backstory of that pirate cat, and I want to know where he went. Like, I want to know the next part of the next leg of his journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, since we're on you, who was your favorite character?
Oof, I'm not 100% sure who my favorite character was, to be honest with you. I think maybe, because there's a few moments in it for sure. You know who I kind of like? I kind of like the lady, I think it was the Angela Lansbury lady, the lady who was like working, taking care of those guys out in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I liked their accent a lot, and I like how she was like the only one I feel like that was just truly committed to the human world that was on the journey with us. You know what I mean? And but even she had already had a previous run-in with that damn unicorn who, you know, the unicorn's so old, probably forgot that she used to hang out with her when she was a fair maiden.
No,
you know
like
what I
that
mean?
was like the whole her whole spiel was like, how dare the unicorn come to her when she's old and haggard and not innocent anymore.
Yeah, it's like a whole nother movie.
Yeah, no.
Oh, her name was the character's name was Molly.
Yeah, Molly.
Molly Groon or something like that, right?
I was surprised that they actually gave her a lot of screen time. Her character, because like as soon as the Robin Hood scene happens, like I expected them, you know, to fucking drop them off as well. I was like, oh, we don't need to see those characters anymore. And she was like kind of the character, because even the wizard guy, the Jerry Seinfeld wizard, like sure he was kind of the reason why they all went to the castle, but Molly kind of kept everything together.
Yeah.
You know, like she was the one, like probably from her experience of handling with a bunch of stupid ass men.
Probably.
But like no, it's like oh my. Plus, a lot of the heightened emotion came from her scenes, and I was like, lady, like calm down. like this is not the movie to try to get the Oscar for.
Yeah, she goes hard. Molly Grew goes hard. Steve?
Favorite character. Man, I have to say the skeleton, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That skeleton, I think he was a scene stealer. You know, he was there for the right amount of time and he stole the show. So those are the roles that I live for. That was my favorite character.
Yeah, no, that's a really fun performance.
I just thought it was crazy that the wizard, you know, instead of using actual magic, he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna fuck with this skeleton. Like, there's wine in here, but you know, you probably won't like the motherfucker. You're dead." But he still takes it.
Oh yes, but like that was the riddle.
That was a great scene, though.
It was.
I like that one.
Mel?
I like Prince Charming over there. It was really good. I liked how he was trying to figure out constantly what was she about, you know, what did she like? But I didn't like how it was just he was sticking to the acts of service. Like, she's not your ordinary princess, so don't do the ordinary thing to conquer her. Yeah, it was pretty sad how he got messed up at the end though.
Yeah.
I just saw myself funny that this guy's, you know, it's fun because you know, like this guy's fucking way of like trying to get to first base with this girl was to fucking murder as many things as he could to appease her. It's like I killed brigands, I killed dragon, you know, people who are just minding their own fucking business.
And of course, like you have to like see the irony in him being like, "Here's a dragon's head" to a unicorn who's like, "You know, I'm one of those things, right?"
Can you imagine? She looked. I was like, "Fucking Fred."
No, because like he even has like a part when he's talking to Molly, how he was like, "I felt sorry for killing the damn thing. Sorry for killing the dragon. What?"
See, that's how like new age girls make their boyfriends to like vegetarians and whatnot. I don't know where I'm going with this. Fuck it.
Go ahead. Dig the hole. I don't want you to
boy.
dig it.
Oh boy. Ladies changing men to what they're not supposed to be. Oh boy. Old school traditional ideas. Oh, what is this? My grave.
Yeah. All right. My favorite character. I don't know. I always really enjoyed Schmendrick, just because like he really has like this sensitivity that you don't see a lot of male characters, or like especially in like 80s films, or like in animated films in general.
Yeah.
You know, like he's kind, he's very intuitive, like that whole scene where he's like freaking out over the fact that she's crying, because like if she's crying, that means that she's turning human, and he really has to fix it.
Was that Jason?
Jason?
Bueno.
Oh no, I just heard a thing, and I was just like, "Oh, someone's adding on to something."
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean to. My bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we should also like really talk about the animation style, just because it is like a style that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with.
Yeah, let's talk about that animation.
Let's do it. Just because, like, I think like this time around, I really did see a lot of like the Japanese influence in it, especially in like all the female characters, like especially like that one like when she's turning from and into like with the like that's so Sailor Moon's in a way.
Oh yeah, mad Sailor Moon vibes throughout this whole thing. You know, the animation style, I recognized it right away. Because I've seen this animation style before in movies like The Hobbit and like Jack Frost or something, like some Christmas movies, like, or just stuff as a kid. I just kind of remember seeing this sort of fluid style with the eyes and the cheeks, you know, of the characters. I just remember this thing in the 80s. So yeah, that's what I picked up on. I'm not really familiar who the animators were, but I know I've seen their work a bunch of times. It was all over the place back in the day.
Yeah, and it was cool because like this was like a collaboration with both American and Japanese artists, and this was like kind of like the first time that they've done this sort of thing. Because in the past, like it's funny because like original anime was like inspired by a lot of like the Aisha Fleischer cartoons of like the 20s. So, you know, when you see like Astro Boy and stuff, it's like, oh yeah, that looks like an old American cartoon. But, you know, the Japanese animators took that and they made it their own thing. And like, it's crazy because the Wrecking Bass style of it, like it's crazy because like you watch this Christmas specials and then you see this is like, wow, that is like the Christmas specials if they had a good budget, you know, because, you know, the animation was stuff made for TV, a quick buck, and they're so stilted and so like frozen and in frame. But then you see how like, oh, like, but when you watch something like The Last Unicorn, it's like, this is what that was in their minds. Like if money was no object, this is how fluid it was supposed to look like. Or this is how they really imagined it. So it's a real treat, and it was a real treat for me because like I never got to experience that while watching the old Wrecking Bass stuff and just seeing like, oh, like if they just did more of this, that'd be so fucking cool. You know,
and like I also really appreciate the color palette that they use for most of the movie, because like they never like it's very rare that you see her in like very lush like what we would consider like traditional fairy tale settings. Yeah. You know, the palette itself is very dark throughout most of it. I
mean, there was a whole scene where she just said "fuck off" to the woodland creatures. That was the traditional setting. That was the movie saying like, no, we're not doing this movie. Bye.
They did look very forlorn. That one bear looks straight up like, well, yep. There goes the neighborhood.
Yeah, you know, the color palette is pretty interesting because all the scenes seem to happen at night. And I know it's probably adding to that mythical lore of like nighttime woodland creatures sort of come out, and, you know, this whimsiness of the night in the forest and like all types of, you know, gnomes or whatever exist in this universe. Yeah, but almost everything takes place from like a glow from the moon, a glow from like the fire, you know, reflections of things, you know. And I think maybe that's all a part of like making it more dreamy and making it feel like, you know, like a fever dream that comes up a few times. It does. It feels like a fever dream because it's almost all at night. And it's like anything can happen at night, and if you stay up too late, you might hallucinate a little bit and see a thing or two. You might see a bull running unicorns into the ocean by your bedroom window.
Yeah, yeah. Steve, Mel, any thoughts?
This was actually filmed or written or made a little more earlier, but it's actually a little more older than I thought. It's 60s. I don't know if that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong.
82.
But 82?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So I guess I was right then. Yeah, I was like, this is very 80s music. But I guess the novel was then written in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually made a lot older than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right on.
That's something that I always thought too. Like, this is the first time watching it, realizing how young it is. Because, like, I thought, like, the way that, like, everything kind of combines, it really kind of gives it this, like, own psychedelic feel to it. So I always thought that was, like, 70s and 60s too.
I'm a huge I'm a huge Tim Burton fan, so a lot of dark, mythical, magical movies is totally my thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Steve? Or no? Oh, there you are.
To me, what really surprised me primarily, honestly, is that this movie is old and it's like a epic collaboration because you're not just dealing with like American voice actors, you're dealing with Japanese animators, you're dealing from music from like another place. Like it's like this come together moment in this film that you don't, especially with older films, you don't see that a lot. And it's good to see that type of collaboration dynamic. And man, are Japanese people ahead of their animation skills? Like, it's great. It's great for like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't think of anything else really to discuss that we haven't really like touched on. So I guess it's time for final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Who wants to go first with their final thought?
JP?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Final thoughts. This is a wild ride of a film, and like, I'm not gonna. I feel this is gonna sound because I really like animated pictures, and I kind of know in my heart that if this was from like another company, or if it was not in the style or just the visual that it was, I probably wouldn't like this movie as much as I did. It was a great surprise, like just like actually knowing like history of like who made it and being unaware or like not knowing like, oh, they also made this, like because like the animation is like I've seen the original anime Hobbit movies and they were animated pretty damn well too. Like those movies were a lot more fluid than this one when it comes from what I can remember, but like it was not as like visually appealing. But I think it was because like there was much more simplicity in this one as opposed to like a grand epic like The Hobbit or whatever. But like, yeah, like it like this is a rewatchable film. Like, and it's crazy because like thank God it's not some kiddie shit as well. Because I really did thought the first scenes like, boy, like we're gonna fucking see this unicorn like bandage up some bear's paw or something. Like I thought that's what this movie was gonna be. But holy shit. There's stuff in here visually speaking where it's like, I don't know if I would let a kid watch it. I think we see a tree like straight up suffocating a man in their tree breast. Is like, wait, I just said that.
You did.
That was a sentence that but it's in the movie. Like that happened. So it's weird because like it's a children's story, but I don't know if I would like screw it. The kids know what boobs are. They'll be fine. They're not gonna be trying. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Yeah, yeah. This is definitely like a good family flick that won't annoy you. It would surprise you, but I don't think it will necessarily annoy you. Maybe the butterfly in the beginning is like, oh, what the H is this? But it's definitely a good film. It has rewatchable quality. It's just great all around. And also, like, who would have thunk that, like, some, like, because I don't even know if they did that much work before the Christmas stuff, like in the animation series, somehow had the budget to get even half of the cast that they got. It's like just the fact that you got Mia Farrow and Jeff Bridges, I was like, wait, what? And then you fucking had Dracula, Count Dooku, fucking Sir Christopher Lee. I made a rock album when I was like 130 or something.
Yeah.
Did Christopher Lee really make a rock album?
Yes, he has a metal album that he made.
A metal album?
Yeah.
Christopher Lee. All right, I know what I'm going to be doing on Spotify tonight.
All right, Jason, what were your final thoughts?
Oh, man. So my final thoughts kind of go back to my original thoughts, where every new moment of this movie, I kept asking myself, what is this again? And after it's over, I asked that again because the movie feels like a lot of different movies. There's so much. The movie felt a little long, but not in the way where it's bad, because it's a 30-minute or it's a 90-minute film, and I liked it. It felt long because I felt like there were so many different journeys in this thing. You know what I mean? They were picking up characters along the way, like you do in these quest sort of films, but there's so many like side stories and B stories happening to get us to the end. And at the very beginning, I felt the same way as JP. I said, oh man, this is going to be a kid's movie and I'm not really up for it. And I was like, no, Michaela wouldn't do that to us. Like, she's not going to she's going to pick up something that's going to be like thoughtful and different and probably a little weird. And then I was like, all right, just wait for the weird thing to happen. And then that butterfly started singing show tunes and standards. I was like, here we go. This is either going to be that kind of movie or it's about to get weird. And it got weird, which was great. I like this film and I would recommend it. I would recommend it to a certain crowd for sure. I would recommend it to my little sister who's, an animator and she's into animation. I actually just texted her just now to ask her has she ever seen this thing. So we'll find out in a bit. But yeah, it's an interesting movie, man. And I'm glad I've seen it. And it's probably their most popular work, even having The Hobbit being considered, to be honest with you. Actually, I'm going to say it's probably their best work. Because if I'm being honest with you, some of their other stuff was either strictly for like small children or some of it was kind of boring. This film, I feel like, is neither of those things. Like a child could watch it and love it, but, there might be some explaining it to a child in great detail. Maybe that's why you wanted to watch it so many times as a kid, Michaela. Because we're trying to figure this thing out as you go. I'm guessing. I don't know your childhood. But I do believe I would recommend this film, not to everyone, but to people who want to get magic weird. Yeah.
Mel, what final thoughts?
Adding to what he said, that there were so many stories. I really wanted to know more backstory on what happened to that castle, man. Because how are you gonna make it look like you're going to a castle? Like he's like, I don't know if it was JP who said it, like thinking you go into a castle with this like king who's all bossed up, and then you go in and it's like, damn, like the castle's pretty messed up. So I really wanted more backstory on that. Those were my final thoughts.
Yeah.
And how big of an asshole that king has to be when it's only him and his son. Like, they're the ones that have to answer the door.
Hey, that's what happens when you have obsessions with mystical creatures that no one else can see.
That's true.
Yeah. Kind of runs people away from you, I bet. He's not that fun at parties.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, why did we invite the unicorn guy?
Right. All he talks about is drowning unicorns.
Like, you don't even keep him, he drowns them.
Like, thank God there's a dog. Like, maybe it'll distract him. Steve?
Final thought. I mean, based on what you guys have said so far, essentially kind of wraps the bow together. And I agree a lot with Jason. Like in this movie, I was in it, then I was getting confused. And then there's a lot of little side stories, like I was saying. Like, for example, the first guy that is like, hey, come here, pretty horse. Come here. Come here. I'm going to grab you. I'm going to grab you. Come here, little pretty horse. Like, I wanted to know more about that guy, you know? And then when the unicorn is, trapped, like, I want to know about that Tiger King situation they got there, you know? Like, so there were a lot of things along the journey that it was like, oh, it's interesting, but you never know where the movie is actually taking you. And even at the end, you're left a tiny bit confused. So, like Michaela said, maybe this is one of those movies you kind of have to watch twice to try to get everything about it, because you end up leaving like, what the fuck? At least a person like me that wasn't into My Little Pony when I was a kid. But I would definitely recommend this to people in the animation department, people that have daughters, and people that were into My Little Ponies and stuff like that. Those are my final thoughts.
My Little Pony with fucking grit, though.
No, like this is a very guilty pleasure of mine. I think this will always have like a very special place in my heart. Just because like I feel like it was like the first story growing up where like they didn't try to hide the darkness, and like they didn't try to make like the monsters seem friendly, or like it was something that was like, no, there's evil in this world, and there's just so many different layers of this. Like the unicorn's pure existential dread throughout the whole film. That's kind of fun. No, like it's one of those things where like every time I watch it, I notice something different in it, and that's like C.S. Lewis's like, what's the word?
Lion, Witch, in the Wardrobe and shit like that.
No, not that. Like he has this saying where like how he judges like what would make a classic tale, and a classic tale is one that every time you go back to it, you get something new from it. Okay. And this is I get something new every time I watch this film. It doesn't make sense, and I don't want it to.
Well, is that everyone?
I think so.
All right. Well, I got a last question for tonight then. Steve, what do you got for us next week?
Next week, I don't know why you keep asking me or telling me, because it's not my turn. It's someone that's very, 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 very close to the camera. And his name is JP Bob Ross Saruno.
We're gonna watch A Year Without Santa Claus. I'm just fucking. We're not gonna watch that.
Like what?
But wait. But you gotta say the connection first.
All right. So the animation coordinator for this film was Toru Hara, and Toru Hara and many of the other animators from this film went on to make a lot of similar movies in Japan. Most of them Studio Ghibli. The one that we're gonna watch next time, Toru Hara produced this movie. We're gonna watch Grave of the Fireflies.
Whoa! A certified classic.
This is the second.
Yeah,
World War II.
Yep, we're going back to the Second World War.
Wait, we watched an animated movie that was in the Second World War before?
No, but we just got through like not 2 weeks ago. We watched
Empire of the Sun.
Ah, yes, in taking place in Asia.
Yep. And Christian Bale is not here to save us. This is Find out next week.
Oh boy.
There we go. So for Jason Eccles, Mel, Michaela, and JP, and me, Steve Does TV, we'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm JP Cerno. Thank you for watching Oya Dimelo Network. Here's additional videos right here for you to click on, and don't forget to subscribe. Isaac has a puppy, and we need to take care of it.